Hello champions, how are you all? So let's start with our first lecture, that is the basic concept lecture. Okay, and from the very starting we are going to discuss, and without wasting any further. Okay, now see, first we are going to discuss about the paper pattern. How is your paper pattern is going to be? Understand it very carefully. Okay, the paper will be of 118 marks. The paper that you will receive is of 118 marks. Out of this 118 marks, na, you will get 30 marks of MCQs and 88 marks of descriptive part. This 30 marks of MCQs are going to be compulsory without negative marking. You are not going to lose marks if you does not correct the question correctly. Okay, no, out of the 88 marks of the descriptive part, you will get six questions. You will get six questions. Out of first question usually will be of PGBP, and it will be of 14 marks, and it will be of compulsory nature, that you need to attempt this particular question. Out of the balance 5 question, you have to attempt any four out of 5. Just a second. Yes, just a second. Any 4 out of 5. So every question will be of 14 marks. So 4 multiplied by 14 will come to 56 marks. This plus 14 marks, this you will get 70 marks of the paper as the descriptive that you have to attempt, and 30 marks of the MCQs. As like this, you will going to attempt the 100 marks of the paper. With this, you are going to attempt the 100 marks of your paper. But there will be an internal choice. Okay, there will be an internal choice in the question number 5 or question number 6, that will make the descriptive part of 88. Okay, one question you will leave, which will be of 14 marks, plus one mark, one question of 4 marks will be an internal option. So this will be an 18 marks additional that you can skip. Okay, so out of 88 marks of the descriptive paper, you have to attempt of only 70 marks, and 30 marks is of MCQs. This is how your paper pattern is going to be decided. Okay, understood? So you have to attempt any 4 out of 5 from the apart from the question number 1. Okay, clearly? Now, moving forward to the basic concept chapter now. Put the heading basic concepts, and we are going to start with it. So, till now we have discussed just the paper pattern. Now, what is your subject name? The subject name is direct tax laws and international taxation. Correct? Let just leave this particular part. Okay, international taxation, just leave this particular part for a while. Okay, now what we are talking about, just we are talking about the direct tax laws. Okay, we know what is direct tax and we know what is indirect tax. The tax which is collected directly by an individual, it is a direct tax, and if someone else is paying on another behalf, it is an indirect tax. And you know each and every definition and each and everything, what is a direct tax and what is not a direct tax, and I'm not going into the details of that particular thing. Okay, clear? I just want you to discuss with me what is the law. I am interested in this particular word. What is laws? See, we just know Income Tax Act. We just know Income Tax Act 1961. But whether we have to study only an act, if we have to study an act, then it should be a direct tax act or it should be an income tax act. The syllabus, the name should be the of the syllabus, the subject will be income tax act, but the name of the subject is direct tax laws. Means it is not only the act. Apart from the act, there should be something else as well. So what the word law comprises of, that we need to understand. The law comprises of Income Tax Act 1961. The law even comprises of Income tax rules. 1962. The law even comprised of circulars, notifications. What are these things? We'll discuss. And the law are also comprised of case laws or judicial case law or judicial updates. These are the same thing. Okay, the different terminologies are there, but the case laws or the judicial updates or the judicial rulings. Understood? All these things combines together comprise the income tax law, comprise the income tax law. So what you have to study? You have to study the law, means you need to study the income tax act, income tax rules, circular, notification, case law, judicial updates. Each and everything is going to be studied by you, then only you are going to cover the direct tax laws portion. Okay, apart from it there will be a topic that is a international tax, correct or not? So this particular international tax, what will happen, that you are going to study the taxation in respect of the non-resident, in respect of the non-resident who is not the resident of India, who is the resident of some other country, and he is earning income from India. So how India is going to tax to those individuals? So we are going to see all those things. Okay, if Indian is just trading with the another non-resident of any other country, so how all these transactions are going to be treated and how all these transactions are going to be taxed, we will see that particular part in the international taxation. Okay, whenever we will come to the international taxation part, we will see to it. But as of now, whether do you understand that we need to study the direct tax laws? In the direct tax laws there will be income tax act, income tax rules, circular, notifications, and the case laws and the judicial updates. Now we are going to first see what is the process of making a law in the India. Process of making the law. Whether it is like that today, Mr. Modi or Mrs. Sitaraman wake up in the one morning and say, now let's imply and now let's apply another law, that is the income tax act or income tax law, and we are going to charge the citizens of India with a new tax law. Whether it is going to be happen? No. If there is a process that should be applied, then should be followed if you want to impose any other law or any other act or any other taxation to the citizens of India. So what is the process? First, the government first have to do what? First, they need to take the consultation that we want to impose some particular taxation. Okay, if you want to take some particular, if you want to take or impose some particular taxation or want to make another law, so first consult, government is going to consult with the stakeholders, with the stakeholders, what are the necessities, how the particular law should be framed, how what is the particular problem that we are going to cope up with this particular act. So there must be a proper clarification why this particular act we want to make, okay, and how it is going to solve the problems. Okay, so for that particular purpose the government is going to consult each and everything to the stakeholders, okay, with their in their ministries, with their very secretaries. Okay, the IAS, IRS, and all these levels of persons go to the secretary level, and they will consult all those things to the secretaries. Okay, what is the problems in the market or in the area. Okay, so they will take the consultations, and then based on that they will first draft a what, they will first draft a bill, they will first draft what, a bill, that there will be a law but it will be a draft law. Okay, they'll make a law after taking the consultation, but it is going to be a draft thing. Okay, because it is not passed, so by that particular thing it is known as a bill. Okay, whatever the draft it is known as a bill. Okay, if it is a bill, then there is a process. If there is a bill and if you want to impose any other law or any other act to the citizens of India, then it must be passed by whom? Parliament. It must be passed by parliament. And there are two kinds of parliament in India. There are two houses of parliament in India. Okay, there is a Lok Sabha and another one is what? Rajya Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Now understand it very carefully. See, first bill, what we are discussing about the income tax act. Okay, what we are discussing about the income tax act. So if any bill that government want to impose to the Indians, to the citizens of India, okay, so first they need to go to the Lok Sabha, and by the majority, the simple majority, they need to pass the bill from the Lok Sabha, and afterwards they have to go to the Rajya Sabha, and by simple majority they need to pass the bill. And finally, when all these things will be over na, when all these things will be over, the third thing will be what? Sign of president. After passing from the Rajya Sabha, the sign of President of India is necessary. When the President of India will sign, na, when the President of India will sign on the same day, on the same date, it will be notified. It will be notified in the official gazette of India. It will be notified in the official gazette of India, and it will be enacted. Then now it is going to be enacted. And when President of India is going to sign, now the bill which was draft will be called as act. It will be called as act. Okay, understood it very carefully. So what is the draft? Now after getting passed it from the Lok Sabha, after getting passed it with the Rajya Sabha, and after the approval of the president, when she signs, okay, it will be notified in the official gazette of India. Then the word bill will be replaced with the word act. Now the income tax bill is not income tax bill. Now it is going to be income tax act, and it is applicable to all Indians, and whatever the criteria is given in that particular act. Understood or not? So this is the whole process. In that particular process, there could be another thing, that the government want that. See, I have taken the consultation. Government might say that we have already taken the consultation in the first step, but in the Lok Sabha or might be in the Rajya Sabha, there is a problem. There are some MPs which are not ready to pass this particular bill. Okay, they want that government should take more consultation. Government should also listen to us. So for that particular purpose, if the government deems fit, or the chairperson of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha deems fit, so what they can do, they can form a committee. They can form a committee, and that particular committee will discuss on that particular bill and give their suggestions to the government. And after incorporating all those suggestions, then the government will present a new bill. Okay, and after that bill will be presented, and it will be passed in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, the sign of the president, and then it will become an act. The process will follow the same, but there is additional step, that if the government want and the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha members want, so there could be a committee formation as well. And in that particular committee, there could be there will be a one chairperson that will be appointed by the chairperson of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, and there will be members of the opposition, there will be members of the government, and everyone will be in that particular committee, and there will be committee formed of 20 MPs, 50 MPs, whatever they deems fit. Okay, this could be an additional process. Now I want to discuss whether all bills follow the same process. Yes, they follow the same process, but there is a twist. Whether all bill have to first go to the Lok Sabha and then only go into the Rajya Sabha. Whether there can be any bill which first go to the Rajya Sabha and then go to the Lok Sabha, and after that take the sign of the president. Whether it is valid. I am not going to the Lok Sabha first. I want to go to the Rajya Sabha first. Whether I can go? Yes, you can go, but there is a situation. What is the situation? See, understand it very carefully what I am saying. If you want to go to the Rajya Sabha first, na, so there should be a bill which is not impacting the general person of India or the general public of India as a whole. Okay, if I want to suppose, if I want to take the companies, if I want to make a new bill of Companies Act, suppose Company Act 2026, I want to make a new act, that is Company Act 2016 2026. Now the Company Act is not affecting a general public. A public like me, a public like you are not impacted by the Companies Act 2026, because will only impact the companies in India and not the general public. If it is not impacting the general public, then you can go to the Rajya Sabha first and then you can go to the Lok Sabha. Or if you want, you can go to the Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha. You can follow anything. But if there is a bill which impacts Indian citizens, which impact the general public as a whole, like the Income Tax Act 1961. Each and every individual have to give the income tax act. Sorry, income tax. Each and every person need to give the income tax. So it is impacting each and every citizen of India. So that particular thing you have to first ask with the Lok Sabha. Why first ask to the Lok Sabha? Because in the Lok Sabha there are MPs, member of parliament, which is elected by the citizens of India. They are the representative of 142 crore, 142 crore citizens of India. So for that particular purpose, they should be asked first. They should be asked first. They should be given the authority. If they do not want that particular law should come, then please do not disturb the Rajya Sabha. If they do not want it, do not disturb the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so this is the primary responsibility. If any law which is impacting a normal citizen of India, every citizen of India, then you must go with the Lok Sabha first and then Rajya Sabha. Understood? This particular thing is clear or not? Tell me this first. Is this process clear to you? Now understand it very carefully. Now, what we have said, we said that first is the Income Tax Act. Now, what does the need of income tax rules? What are the need of income tax rules? See, we have made till now the act. Now, in certain cases, in the act itself, in the act is we are talking about the income tax rules. See, in act itself, there will be some power given to the government or the authority. Okay, the powers, there will be some powers which is directly given to the government to clarify thing or to prescribe something. Okay, to prescribe something. Why these powers given to the government directly? See, if we want to change an act, okay, so the act was passed by the parliament, the act was passed by the parliament, it was assented by the government of India, it was assented by the president of India and officially notified in the official gazette of India, then only it becomes an act. Okay, now if we want to change even a single word in that particular act, even a single comma, the whole process need to be done again. The whole process need to be done again. So the government does not want to do these all bulky work again and again if they want just to say, change a customize or just to customize something or just to clarify something. Okay, so in that particular act, they have given some powers directly to the government. That act is approved by the parliament. So act itself says that we are giving the powers to the government. That means the parliament, the MPs, the member of parliament has given the powers to the government that they can prescribe something, they can clarify something, or they can show some method how to achieve that particular objective. So for that particular thing, they can make rules. So the power of making rules comes from an act. The power of making the rules comes from an act. After that, the government prescribe all those things, all those rules, and then rules will be then rules whatever they make will also become part of your syllabus. That is a direct tax laws, the income tax rules as well. Understood it very carefully, clearly? So income tax act is understood, income tax rules is understood, that you need to study. Understood? Now we are moving forward for the circular notifications and the case laws. Yes. So till now we have studied the income tax act and income tax rules. Now we are going forward to the studying of circulars or notifications. Now, what are the difference between the circulars and notification? First, we need to understand this. Okay. Now, write it with me. Circulars. These are to clarify doubts and guide officers. Circulars are the guide to the officers and usually issued to clarify the doubts. Write it. Okay, now understand this, that circulars are binding on whom? Either it is binding on department, yes, they are binding on the department, but whether it is binding on the assessee, no, it is not binding on the assessee. Whether it is binding on the appellate tribunal, okay, or any court, no, it is not even binding on the court or the appellate tribunal. Okay, now understand it. What is this? Usually the circular are issued by the government, okay, and the government has delegated the power to issue the circulars to the central board of direct taxes, okay. Yes, so the central board of direct taxes usually upload the circulars. What they usually do in those circulars, they either clarify any doubts which is pertaining in that particular industry. Suppose there is a provision, okay, there is a law that came, okay, and the government wanted to clarify that thing because there can be multiple interpretation of that particular provision. So the government want to clarify that, see, this is the provision and you need to interpret that particular provision in this particular manner. This is what we need to give. And if the government want to give the FAQs, okay, to clarify something, why this provision has came and how it will be implemented, if they want to clarify those things, those doubts that will be in that are coming from the public, so they issue what circular, they issued the circular to clarify the doubt of the individuals and also to guide the officers. Now these are binding on the department. The income tax department cannot say that we are not abiding by the circulars. No, it is authorized by the CBDT. It is uploaded by the CBDT, the supreme authority of the collection of direct taxes. So the department has to follow that. They are in the obligation to follow the circulars. But whether the assessee is in the obligation to follow it, no, assessee is not in the obligation. They can even challenge that particular thing. They can even challenge the circular in the court. Understood or not? And whether court is binding on the circular, if there is any appellate tribunal or any court, are they binding with the circulars? No, not at all. Why are they? If they are binding on that particular circular, that means that the department is saying that what we have issued, it is final. So what is the rule? What is the last thing? You can say, what is the use of the case laws, or what is the use of the court tribunals? There must be not be use of any other court or tribunal. That is why they are not binding on the courts or tribunal, because the structure of court and law is to define or to interpret a particular provision. If they are binding by a circular, so you are not following that particular structure. So that is why it is not binding on the SSC or the appellate tribunal. Are you clear with this? Yes. Moving forward to the notifications. What are notifications that are issued by the CBDT? Right? To give effect to act, certain provisions or rules. What does it mean? See, whenever the CBDT has given whenever the act, okay, in the parliament has given the power in the act itself, that the government of India can make rules. Suppose the government of India can make rules, okay, or the government of India can notify something, that this particular provision will be applicable from which date, so all these power which is given in the act, okay, by these powers, okay, what the CBDT do, the government of India has given the power to the CBDT, which will issue the notification and do what? It will either make something, implement something. What they will make? They will make either rules, implement something, rules, provisions. Okay, well, in there, suppose in the act it is written that this is the particular provision that will come effect from 1st of April, or might be it will come effect whenever the CBDT will notify it. So the by issuing a notification, by issuing a document, the CBDT will notify that this particular provision is going to be implemented from this particular date. Okay, or to operationalize something. Okay, to operationalize something, it is also issued. Understood? So there are two things, that is circular and the notification. And the notification, listen to me very carefully, that the notifications are binding. Unlike the circulars, notifications are binding on the assessee as well as to the department. Understood clearly? Tell me this, understood clearly? Yes. Shall we move forward? So till now, what we have seen the Income Tax Act, we have seen the income tax rule, we have seen the circulars and notifications. Now we are going to talk about the case laws. All see, income tax or any law is subject to the interpretations. If you interpret by one method, you might have another interpretation than the person who will interpret in their own manner. Okay, so there will always be a conflict of interpretation. So who will going to solve that particular interpretation, or who will going to solve this particular issue, or the problem that it is going to be solved by the court, might be the Supreme Court, might be the High Court, might be the appellate tribunals. In income tax as well, there are some appellate tribunals. Okay, so see what are those appellate tribunals, what are their works, we will definitely see in the later part of these classes. But the fifth part, the second part is like case laws. Case laws is to be pronounced by the Supreme Court, High Court, CIT appeals, ITAT, might be DRP, might be DRC. What are these particular things? We will see in this particular lecture itself. Okay, in these lectures, in the exemption series, you are going to get all these things. What are the CIT appeals, ITAT, DRP, or DRC? Everything is going to be completed in this particular session itself. Understood or not? Tell me this first. So till now we have completed the case laws. Okay, now by this particular point itself, I want to ask you one particular question. There is a judge of Supreme Court. Okay, the matter comes to the Supreme Court judge is the case of Income Tax Authority versus, suppose, Weber Bansal. Okay, suppose this is the case. Income Tax Authority says that suppose section number 153 is to be interpreted in this particular manner. But I say that section number 153 is to be interpreted in my favor. Now the matter goes to the judge of Supreme Court. Now it is the responsibility of that particular judge to interpret the correct law. To interpret the correct law, what is the intention behind making that particular law? This is very much important. So there are certain kind of rules that are given to the judges that needs to be followed while reaching to any of the conclusion, so that it should always be the right decision. The judges will take always the right decision because they have to follow certain rules of interpretation, and these rules of interpretation are part of your syllabus of the first chapter. Okay, now we are going to start with the rules of interpretation. If there will be no rules of interpretation, then every judge will interpret in their own manner, and no one is going to accept it because they are biased, they could be biased. Okay, so there are rules of interpretation that each and every judge needs to follow, okay, while giving the judgment. In that particular thing, rules of interpretation, write it. It could be principles, it could be doctrines, or methodologies evolved by court that how a statute in bracket right law should be read to ascertain the intention of the lawmaker. The main important word is the intention. Let me write it in red. Intention of the lawmaker. What was the intention of the lawmaker? By what intention that particular provision, that particular rule is made? This is most important. So what are those principles and doctrines or some methodologies that a court, a judge should follow to interpret the real meaning of a statute, that what is the intention of the lawmaker? If we understand the intention of the lawmaker, then we will be able to interpret it correctly what lawmaker wanted to tell us. Understood or not? Yes. So these are some rules of interpretation, and now coming to the rules of interpretation part. Okay, now I say study material, there are some rules of interpretations given. Okay, the first rule of interpretation is the literal interpretation. What does it say? Is that it says that whatever written in the law, just follow that. Do not add anything, do not subtract anything. Whatever it is written, just interpret it literally. Give the exact meaning of the word, which is the dictionary meaning. Okay, just give it and reach to a conclusion what it is going to say us. Okay, it is a literal interpretation. Do not anything, do not add anything, do not subtract anything from that particular provision. Okay, it is what a literal interpretation. What it says that judges do not legislate, means that judges do not make the law, they just interpret the law. So attention must be given to what has been said and what has not been said. What is said or what is not said, nothing should be added or nothing should be subtracted. Okay, what it is written, just interpret it as it is. It is what a literal interpretation is all about. Second is mischief rule. Mischief rule, understand it very carefully. What is a mischief rule? Suppose there is a provision in the Income Tax Act. Okay, under the section number, suppose 120. Under the section number 120, there is a provision. Then a CA came, CA Weber Bansal, suppose, correct? Yes, he came. He found some loophole in the section, and he misused the section. He misused the section, and after the 2 years, the government got to know that Mr. CA Weber Bansal has done what, has find a loophole in the act and misusing it to avoid the tax payment. So after getting this knowledge, the government of India does what? They come out with an amendment. They come out with an amendment in the act, in the provision of section 120 by the Finance Act. Understood it clearly? Yes. Now CA Weber Bansal. Now CA Weber Bansal has some interpretation issues and filed a case in the Supreme Court. Suppose in the Supreme Court directly. Okay. Now, if the judge wants to give the correct judgment in this particular case, then what he must know? He first must know that, just give me a second, what was the old law What was the loophole and how it is fixed or misused? How it was fixed or misused. Then, after getting the knowledge of these two things, that the earlier law, what was it is saying, and what Mr. Weber Bunsen was doing it, and by that particular finding of the loophole, he tried to avoid the tax penalty, he tried to avoid the tax liability, and the government found that particular loophole and plug it out, okay, and plug it out. So after getting these particular whole details, what the judge will reach to the conclusion what was the intention behind the particular amendment in provision of section 120. Understood or not? So this is the mischief rule. So this is the mischief rule. What does the mischief rule says that? Mischief rule says that, see what it says. It is also a Haydn's rule or the purposive construction. The position before an amendment means what was the original provision or enactment of the act is examined to find out the mischief sought to be remedied. What was the mischief that was C.A. Weber Pencil was doing and how it is remedied. Okay, to determine the rationale for the remedy, that to determine what does the intention of that particular lawmaker by taking of the amendment, by coming up with an amendment. So if you want to interpret the amendment correctly na, so for that particular thing you have to follow the mischief rule, that what was the earlier provision, now how it was actually misused, and how the government plugged that misused provision. Understood that point? Tell me that. Understood? Clearly done. Now, coming to the golden rule. It is important rule. It says that if it allows a judge to depart from the word's original meaning, if if there is a word written in the law, okay, but if we are going to literally interpret that word, okay, if we are going to apply the mischief rule as well, so after applying all these things now, that particular word gives a absurd meaning. Absurd meaning that it is not coming up with the intention of the law. Intention of the lawmaker cannot be like this. Okay, so it is giving a absurd meaning. Okay, so for that particular person, for that particular point, it is allowed to the judges that they can interpret it logically. They can interpret it logically and depart from the literal interpretation. Okay, it is a compromise between the literal rule and the mischief rule. They can depart from the words normal meaning, that is that they can depart from the literal interpretation. Understood? Now coming to the harmonious construction, what does it say? See, the entire statute must be read as a whole. See, if I have said to you now, in the provision there are certain subsections as well. Okay, understood? There are certain subsections, so every subsection has to give equal importance. You cannot read the first provision and apply it. Okay, you have to, if you want to apply the whole provision, that is section, suppose there is a section called section number 139. There is a section called section number 139. Section number 139 have subsection number 1, subsection number 2, subsection number 3, subsection number 4. Okay, all talks about the return of income. Okay, so section number 139 1 talks about certain categories, 139 2 talks about certain categories, 3 certain categories, 4 certain categories. So you cannot read 139 1 in isolation. If you want to give effect to section number 139, if you want to interpret it correctly, if you want to interpret it logically, then it is very important then that you read the whole provision of the section number 139, not only just one section, but to read and interpret the whole section number 139 including subsection 1 2 3 4, and harmoniously construct and come to a single conclusion that what this particular section talks about. You cannot read it the particular subsection in isolation and interpret it separately. If you want to interpret the section number 139 in totality, then you have to read the whole provision and then only come to a single conclusion. Then this particular provision talks about what. Understood or not? This is what a harmonious construction. Understood that there must be a harmony between all the provisions, that you have to create a harmony, you have to create a sync between all the provisions, and you have to understand it in logical manner by giving effect to each and every provision, and do not interpret it in isolation. Understood or not? Tell me this. Okay. No. The entire statute must be read as a whole. Further, all part of the section should be read harmoniously. Construction should be such that it provide meaning to all part of the statute. Understood clearly? Now, coming to the beneficial construction. Beneficial construction is what? If there are two views are possible. If there is a case where the department is also saying the correct thing and the assessee is also saying the correct thing, and the judge is convinced by both the views, so what can be done? So in this particular case, it is the benefit given to the assessee, to the taxpayer, that it should be interpreted in a beneficial manner to the assessee. Whatever view, whatever intention, whatever interpretation is beneficial to the assessee, to the taxpayer, it should be upheld. It should be upheld. Understood? The construction which is most beneficial to the taxpayer should be adopted. Understood or not? Tell me this. Clear? Now, coming to the rule number 6 and the rule number 7. These two rules usually confuses the student. These two rules usually confuses the student because these are more or less the same. These are more or less the same thing. Okay, but we will understand it with the help of an example. Okay, so write it with me. You have to write this particular provision to understand it very carefully. What does this particular rule says and what are the difference between these particular rules? Okay, now first we are talking about the rule of agestum generis. What does it talks about? This rule is applied when particular words pertaining to a specific class, category, or genus, genus, okay, are followed by general general words. In such case, the general words are construed as limited to things of the same kind as the specific word. What it says that if in the law there are certain specific categories, class, or genres of the words are given, okay, and it is followed by a general word which is generally can be interpreted in a different manner, so that particular general word will take the color, will be considered as the same kind of the word which is related to the category, classes, or genus which is already described in the earlier part of the section, but it is not clear to you. Now we will understand it with the help of an example. Okay, suppose, let me give you an example. In the law, what it is written? Suppose in the law it is written that this provision is applicable to shares, debentures, and other securities. See, in this particular line, what is given? Shares and debentures are two specific word related to a particular class or categories of a financial instruments. Correct or not? Financial or capital market instruments. Correct? Yes. But it is followed by a general word, that is any other securities. So what does this particular word means? Any other security will comprise of what things? What things? It will comprise anything which is related to the shares, debentures, or financial instrument of the capital market things. Na? So the other words, other securities. So here the rule of Esdom generals, okay, Esdom generals, the other securities will be interpreted as, what are the other securities? What could be the other securities? Tell me. Like might be derivatives, might be mutual funds, etc. Understood? So the general word will take the color from the earlier word, that is the shares or debenture. It is a particular class. This particular word, this particular rule applies on a class, category, or genus. Understood or not? First of all, we will understand the difference between the two, but first you have to understand the rule of adjectum generis will apply to a class, category, or genus, and if it is followed by a general word, then the general word will be interpreted based on the words that are given below, given before that. Okay, now coming to the next part. Now coming to the next part, which is the rule of nociter associs. Yes, rule of nociter associs. Here as well, right? This principle implies that the of a word, meaning of a word may be ascertained by reference to the words associated with it. Words derive color from the surrounding world. For an example, suppose the word given in the law, that is a plant and machinery. Okay, the word is given in the law, that is a plant and machinery. See, plant can be a factory plant, okay, or a plant can be a tree, bushes. These are also the plants, and factory plant is also a plant. So what kind of plant this particular word is talking about? This particular word is talking about what kind of a plant? So this word, the plant word, will take color from the word that is machinery, which is associated with it, because machinery is a word which is used for the factory purposes. So means here the plant will also be word of factory purposes, not the tree or bushes. Understood or not? So whatever the words which is surrounded around it, so the previous word, which is a generic word, okay, it will take color from the word which is already interpreted separately or specifically, like in this particular case the machinery. Understood? Clear? It is very important. Done? Now, the difference between a rule of nocitor associates or the ecdem generis, if you want to take it in a single line, you can take it that ecdem generis requires a list of specific items followed by a general term. First, it will write a specific list of the items, then it will write a general term. Then only the rule of ecdem generis is going to be followed. But in the case of nocitor associates, it applies to any ambiguous word. It applies to any ambiguous word where it is surrounded by any other specific word. Understood it very clearly. This is the difference between the two, and most of the students used to suffer in these particular two words. Clearly understood? Shall I move forward? Yes. Now, last is what stare decisis, which is that it stipulates that a view which is operating for long and is accepted and acted upon shall not be easily departed from. See, there could be a customary provision. There could be a customary provision that this particular provision will always be interpreted in this particular manner itself. It is not written in the law. It is not written in any rule or any rule book, but as per the society's custom, we understand this, that this particular word or this particular line or this particular rule will be interpreted in this particular manner itself. It is not written anywhere, but it is a customary manner, okay, that the judge, that the Supreme Court, High Court, and every court, every normal person also interpret that particular thing in the same manner. So if it is not written, so please do not apply any other mind. If it is a customary method, then follow that particular interpretation itself. Do not depart from that interpretation. Understood? It is clear as well. So the rules of interpretations are clear to you or not? See, done. Shall I move forward? Now, we have completed with the rules of interpretation. Now, I want you to come to the aids of interpretation and what are the difference between the rules and the aid of interpretation. Aids of interpretation. What are the aids of interpretation? Understand it carefully. It could be some materials, okay? It could be some resources. It could be anything that helps or assist the courts in the process of interpretation. See, earlier we have seen that what are the principles, what are the rules that the judge should follow to identify the intention of the lawmaker. What the lawmaker wants to say, we need to identify it. Now, how we are going to identify it, how we are going to know what is the intention of the lawmaker, this is to be understood by the aids of interpretation. That is to be understood by the aids of interpretation. So do you understand that what is the difference between the rules and the aids of interpretation? Understand? Now clearly there are two kinds of aids. See, there are two kinds of aids. First could be a internal aid to interpretation, and another could be an external aid to interpretation. What are the difference between the two? If we need to interpret the income tax act, okay, we are going to take the examples of income tax act only because it is in your syllabus. So if we need to interpret any income tax law provision and we are taking help of the income tax act itself, then it is going to be the internal aid. But if we want to interpret the income tax act, but we are taking some help of some other material or resources apart from the income tax act, then it will come under the external aid. Then it will come under the external aids. Understood? Now, moving forward, coming to the aids of interpretation. First is the internal aid, and then we will understand what the external aid are. Now, interpretation in the internal aids, there could be some explanations, there could be some provisions. Now understand it very carefully, what is the difference between the explanations and the provisions. See, in the provision there could be a provision where certain explanations are given, okay. After writing a provision there could be an explanation. What does the explanation do? It just clarifies something. It just make easy that what I want to say on the above provision. I have written the above, the lawmaker is saying that I have written the provision in a technical manner, but there could be something that is not understood by the particular person. So I'll give a simple interpretation, I'll give a simple language interpretation, and it will be given in an explanation. Okay, it is generally meant to explain or clarify the meaning of a certain word, so that the litigation or the double interpretation or the double views of the assessee or the department could not happen. There should only be a single view. So to give the explanation, to give or clarify the certain meaning of those particular words, the explanation are added in the provision itself. There will be a heading explanation, explanation 1 2 3 4 5, whatever the explanation they need to give, and they will explain the each words in that particular explanation itself. Clearly done? Yes. Now coming to the provisos part. See, in the section itself, now we will see in the various part of the syllabus where in after the provision there will be written as provided that. Below that there will be again written as provided further that. Again below that it will be written as provided for also that. Okay, there could be any number of provided also that, provided also that, provided also that. Okay, but first would be provided that, second will be provided further that, and third one onwards any of the provision will be what, provided also that. Okay, now what are the use of those provisos? These provisos are used to provide some exceptions or conditions to the particular provision. Whatever the particular provision it is, it provides, the proviso provides the exception to that above provision, or some conditions. It could put certain conditions that if you want to avail these particular if you want to avail these particular benefit of the provision, then you need to fulfill these particular conditions. So to give the effect of exceptions, to give the effect of some conditions, the provisions are inserted in the particular law. So if I want to understand what is the real intention of the lawmaker, it is important or not to understand the explanations, it is important or not to understand the provisos, because it is available in the act itself, it is available in the provisions itself. Then only it is called as a internal aid. That is why it is known as what, a internal aids. Tell me this, is it clear? Yes, now coming to the third one, that is a non-obstante clause. What does the non-obstante clause says that? See, there could be various provisions where you will find that it is starting with these words, notwithstanding anything contained in this provision, or notwithstanding anything contained in the intersection of this particular act. What does it mean? It means that I have a overriding effect. Whatever the other provisions of this act it's saying, whatever the other subsections are saying of this particular section, I do not care about anything. We have seen earlier part that rule number 4, that the interpretation rule is saying that we need to harmoniously construct anything, harmoniously given an interpretation to the particular provision. But there could be some provisions. Why this particular point, fourth point, is important? Understand it very carefully. Because of the non-obstante clause, because there could be some any provision, there could be some any lines or the laws or some any points which says that notwithstanding anything contained in this provision, or notwithstanding anything contained in the other provisions of the act, that I do not listen to what other provisions of what my provision also saying, that I just do not listen to them. What I am saying is the final thing. So if the provision is saying something else, but I said that no, it is not to be followed, then it is not to be followed in those particular cases, whatever they will describe. So, notwithstanding anything contained, if these lines are coming, then it is called a non obstante clause, means it will have an overriding effect. Okay, whatever the above provision and whatever the afterwards provision are saying, we do not care about them. We are just going to follow what this particular provision is saying, that. So okay, so this is what a non-obstante clause. So understand and read it very carefully, that non-obstante clause is a clause which begins with the phrase notwithstanding anything contained in any other provision of the act, or notwithstanding anything contained in the particular provisions of the act. Either we are overriding the whole act, or we are overriding just this particular provision. Understood or not? Tell me this first. Clearly understood? Shall I move forward? Okay, now moving forward. Coming to the marginal notes and headings. What are the marginal notes or heading? Just let me open something for you to understand what are the marginal notes and headings. Okay. Yes. See, this is the finance bill. Okay. This is the finance act. Okay. See, it is very important to understand that the provision is also inserted. The new provision in the Income Tax Act was inserted from the first day of 2025. That is section number one. That is section number 44 triple B. What is the section number 44 triple B? See, if beside this particular provision there is a heading given that insertion of a new section 44 bbc. It is what a marginal heading is. It is a marginal heading. Why it is a marginal heading? Because it is given on the margins of the act. Understand it very carefully. It is very easy to understand because it is the the word itself clarifies what does it says. Whatever the headings given in the margins of the act is known as the marginal headings. Okay, and then below that there is some explanation that this particular provision is for the special provisions for computing of pgbp of operations of cruise ship in case of a non-resident. So these are the marginal notes and these are the marginal headings. Okay, headings I have told you, and these are the marginal notes. These are the marginal notes. Okay, why these are the marginal notes? Because it is given on the margins of the act. It is very easy. Okay, if I have opened this particular file, so let me show you some other things as well. Just give me a second. Let me come to the first page and just rub it down. See, I have told you na what is the process of making it. There should be a bill which will be passed by the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, and after that it will be passed. It will be signed by the President of India and notified in the official gazette. See, this is the act which says that what the following act of the parliament received the assent of the president on 16th of August 2024 and is hereby notified for general information. It is notified in the official gazette of India, Bharat ka Rajpat Patra. Okay, now and everything is going to be that. So it got the assent by the president of India on the 16th of August, and on the same day, that is 16th of August, it is notified in the official gazette. Understood it very carefully? Clearly done? Okay, now we are moving ahead. Coming to the next part, that is a definition clause and the undefined words. What does it says that? See, usually the section 2 of the act defines the word that are used in the different parts of the act. So to avoid the repetitions, if we are going to explain each word again and again and again in the every provision of the act, then it is going to be a bulky act. Okay, because there are so many repetitions. So to avoid the repetition, there are certain generic definitions given under section number 2. Okay, which says that whenever this particular word comes in the act, you have to give the meaning of that particular word which is given in section number 2, as we are going to see some definitions in the later part of this particular chapter itself. Okay, so in the section number 2 itself, there are certain definitions are given which will be a generic definition and will be used throughout the act. Okay, whenever the word is given, suppose in the section number 2, the definition of resident is given. Suppose the definition of senior citizen, suppose senior citizen is given. Okay, and whenever the word senior citizen will come in the act, we will interpret it as per the section number 2 itself. Understood? But there could be certain provision which says that sorry, we do not want to use the same meaning which we have described in section number 2 for that particular provision. For rest of the act, it is going to be applied section number 2 definition itself. But for this particular provision, we do not want to apply the same meaning. We want to divert from the meaning so they can explain the meaning of that particular word itself in the same provision. in the same provision through the explanations. Understood the meaning of explanations? That we have said that it could be explain or to clarify the meaning of the certain words. So to clarify the meaning of the certain words, what we are saying that there could be a definition clause that could be given. So see what it says that the object of the definition clause is to avoid the necessity of frequent repetition in describing the subject matter in the statute. A word occurring more than once in a statute should be generally given the same meaning unless the context requires otherwise. If in the act there is certain a different provision in some other provision, the different definition is given now, so for that particular provision follow that remaining, otherwise generally section number 2 meanings will be followed. Clearly understood? Now the aids of interpretation is very much clear. Now coming to the external aids. We have completed with the internal aids of explanation. Okay, now we are coming to the external aids. So to interpret the income tax act, we are going to follow some rules. We are going to follow some material or resources which are not the income tax act, which is not given in the income tax act. First is a legislative history. So what is the legislative history? How the courts have reached to a conclusion? What the earlier courts or what the earlier judges or what the earlier judgment have came out on this particular provision? So if we are taking the help of previous judgments, then it is what a legislative history. Understood? If we are coming to the conclusion by, suppose we are saying that in that particular case of this and this, the Supreme Court has ruled that this thing, and the same facts and figures are coming to in our case, so we are relying on the Supreme Court judgment and we are giving the same judgment. So it is what a legislative history. Understood? Now circulars we have explained you. Now speech and explanatory materials, explanatory memorandums. Now understand it very carefully what these things are. So in the external aid there are two words, that is first is speech and second is what, budget memorandum. What these two things are, do you understand that? I have told you now that to change anything in the act, what is to be done, the same process need to be followed, that go first consult it, then pass in the lower house first, then the Rajya Sabha, and then take the assent of the president, and the official gazette will be notified, and this is a bulky some process. Okay, so for that, if the government want to do some changes in the act, so there is a provision that it should be done through a finance bill. It should be done through a finance bill, which usually come on 1st of February of every year. 1st of February of every year. Now it is going to come in recent some days. Okay, so for the 2026 it is now going to come. So every year on the 1st of February, Nirmala Sitharamanji will come with an iPad of red color, okay, with a red envelope, okay, and there will be a trajectory of India, how the budget allocation will be done, and what is the estimated budget for the next year. And with this, they also do some modification or the changes in the Income Tax Act. They also do the modification or changes in the Income Tax Act. Okay, so while doing the modification or changes, she explains the things, okay, that we are going to change this, why we are going to change this, for how many people are going to be impacted with this particular change, whether it is a positive change or not, and everything they are going to, she is going to explain in her budget speech. So whether that particular speech is important or not, to understand the intention of the lawmaker, understand, it's very careful, because if we got to know what Nirmala Sitharamanji is saying by proposing a particular amendment in the act, so we can understand it, what is the intention of the lawmaker by taking these amendments, by coming up with these amendments. Understood it clearly or not? So it is very important to read the speech, that is a budget speech as well. Then there is a budget memorandum. There is a budget memorandum, which explains what this particular provision that we are amending, why we are amending it, what is the mischief. You are recalling or not all those things? What is the mischief that has been sought to be remedied? Okay, understood. So we have find some loopholes, and the CAs or the chartered accountants are using those loopholes, and we are founding it. Now we are curing all these loopholes. That is why we are coming up with these amendments. So these all explanations are given in the budget memo random. Sir, whether we can get all these things? Yes, you can get all these things. There is a website of India, government of India, indiabudget.gov.in, indiabudget.gov.in, where you will find both the things, speech as well as budget memorandum. Do you want me to show all these things? Just give me a second. If I can show you, uh, India budget.gov.in. Just a second, screen will come. Just a second. Yes. So it is a website that budget India indiabudget.gov.in. Okay, where you'll come, you'll find there will be economic surveys are given. See, previous budget speeches are also given. If you go and click on this, see the previous budget speech of every year is here. You can just put it down. You can just click on it. 25-26 budget speech is going to be here. Okay, the speech of Nirmala Sitharaman, and it is going to be as it is. Whatever she says, each and every word, she used to read this, na? She used to read this. So everything is given in this. That honorable speaker, I present the budget for 25-26. These should be the exact wording of the Nirmala Sitharamanji, because she is reading this only in the iPad. So the whole speech is this. So in these particular thing, she will come up with certain things. Now let me show you in the budget. Okay, uh not the annexures. Yes. See, the direct taxes. Now, in the speech of the Nirmala Sitharamanji on the 2025 speech, what she says, I now come to my direct tax proposals. In part A, this, and everything. Now, no. See, point number 137. What she says that it is not going to be writable, so it's okay. I propose to rationalize TDS by reducing the number of rates and thresholds above which the TDS is deducted. Further, threshold amount for tax deduction will be increased for better clarity and uniformity. Do you understand the intention of the lawmaker? Why she is coming up with this particular thing? Because they clearly said that we are coming with this for the threshold amounts for tax deduction will be increased for better clarity and uniformity. So whatever the changes are making, it is for the better clarity and the uniformity. Do you got the intention of the lawmaker? The intention of the lawmaker is very much clear to you. So this is the budget speech, that is very important. Second is what is important is the memorandum explaining the provisions in the finance bill. Can you see the memorandum explaining the provisions of the finance bill, where you will cover, where you will see the memorandum, the budget memorandum. Okay, it will also explain the reason for each and every amendment, why this particular amendment is coming and why we are doing all these changes. So it's also explained in this particular provision. You whether you can find all these things, yes, you can find all these things in this particular website itself. Clearly understood? Previous union budget, if you go to the previous union budget, we want to find the previous year memorandum. So if suppose if I want to find a memorandum to the amendment which came in 1617, I'll go in the 1617 and then I'll find the memorandum explaining the finance bill 2016. I'll click here. Just a second, it is not opening. Okay, But in the memorandum explaining, you will find it everything here. Okay, okay, okay. Memorandum. I'll click memorandum explain the finance bill. See, the memorandum came to me. I can read it and I can know the intention of the lawmaker, whether it is clear to you. Now, moving forward. So, this is very much clear to you. Now, if we have understood the speech and the explanatory memorandums as well. Now, coming to the last thing, that is the dictionary meaning. If there is no word defined in the particular law, so what we have to do, we the first rule is what? The literal interpretation, na? So to do the literal interpretation, we need to see the dictionary meaning. We need to see the dictionary meaning. Understood it clearly? Very easy. Array, very easy or not? Tell me this. Shall I move forward? Now, coming to the basic concept, starting page. We have seen income tax act, we have seen income tax rules, we have seen case laws, circulars, okay, notification, and in the case laws we have bifurcated it, what are the rules of interpretations and what are the aids of interpretation. Now we have seen each and everything. Now there should be a question in your mind, sir, whether there is any power given in the Constitution of India to impose any law, or or anyone can impose law. Like if I want to impose some law on the citizens of India, can I impose a law on the citizens of India and collect the taxes from them? Whether I have the authority? No, I don't have the authority. So who have the authority and who will decide that this particular person will have the authority? Why the government of India is taking the taxation from us? Why not some private governments? Oh, sorry, private corporations are taking tax from us? Who is going to decide who will going to take the tax from us? So there should be an authority or not, and there should be some written communication to this or not. Yes, it is written. It is written in our Constitution of India under article number 265. It is written that there, if the government, or if the government want to collect tax, so no tax shall be levied, no tax shall be levied other than by the authority of law. Then if there is an authority of law, then only they can collect the taxes. If there is no authority, then you cannot collect the taxes. Now the question comes, what is the authority and who has the authority? First question is is that whether someone can make law regarding that. Yes, Article 265 says that if there is an authority of law, they can collect taxes from you. So the private companies can take the taxes? No, because they are not authorized. Okay, who are authorized? The authorization was given under article number 246. So first see, the Constitution of India in article 265 lays down that the no tax shall be levied or collected except by the authority of law. Whatever the authority of law will be, it will collect the taxes, and no other one can collect the taxes. If I want to collect the taxes in some morning, I can't go to every house and say, now give me the tax, because I want to collect the tax. No, you are not the authority who can collect the tax. Okay, now in the seventh schedule of article number 246, which describes which describe who can collect the taxes on which income. There are three categories. There are three categories described in the seventh schedule of article 246, which says that first list is the union list, second is the state list, and third is the concurrent list. First is the union list, is the list in which what list is given, on those particular items the central government can take the taxes. Okay, in the state lists, whatever the list of items or whatever the list of incomes is given, on that particular income the taxes will be collected by the state government. And there is a certain list where is what is the list is the concurrent list, where the central government along with the state government will collect the taxes collectively, jointly. There will be no single authority. The central government with the state government will simultaneously collect the taxes on that particular income. And the major example of the concurrent list is what? Your GST, where the CGST and SGST both is collected. Both the governments are collecting the tax from you. That is why it could happen, because it is written in the concurrent list where both the governments can collect the taxes. But now what our matter is, so where the income tax act is written. Okay, so So any income, the taxes on income is written under entry number 82 of the union list. That is list number 1, union list. Entry number 82 is written, which says that you can collect the taxes. You can collect the taxes, the union government can collect the taxes on the income, but other than agriculture income, the taxes on the agriculture income cannot be collected by the union government. Only the state government is going to collect the taxes on it. Understood or not? Because the tax on the agriculture income is written in the state list. That is why the government of India, the central government or the income tax act can never collect the taxes on the agriculture income. Understood it clearly or not? Now, what are the components of the act? We have seen the income tax act, we have seen the income tax rules, and the finance acts. I have told you now that every 1st of February the budget comes. Okay, we have seen the circular notification, we have seen the case laws, we have seen each and everything. Now in the finance act there are four parts. If you open the finance act, there are going to be four parts. Part number 1 talks about the current rates, okay, for the assessment year 26-27. Part 2, there will be a TDS rates. Part 3, there will be a salaries and the computation of advanced taxes calculation will be there. And part 4 will be used to calculate the rules for computing the net agriculture income. These are just part, you can just read it or forget it. But what is important for you for your exam from May 26 to January 27, your previous year should be what? Previous year 25-26, and the assessment year is going to be 26-27. This is going to be very important. Of what is a previous year, what is a assessment year, we are going to see in the next part. Okay, now till now we have completed till here. Now take a break of 5 minutes. Now after that, this lecture is going to be over. Now you will get a lecture 1b, where we will continue with the important definition and we'll move forward with the later part of this particular chapter. So we are pausing this video, take a break of 5 minutes, and then with the new lecture you will find a lecture number 1b, where we'll start with the important definitions and cover up with the other things as well. I hope you are liking this lecture. Just 2 to 3 days you will cope up with my speed, you will get used to with my speed and my teaching techniques. So just give 2 to 3 days to you as well. Just watch it slowly, just try to digest what I am saying, just try to digest the teaching methodology, and then you are going to be very super effective after the 2 to 3 or 4 days classes. Okay, so we are pausing here. Now we are going to come up in the next lecture. All the very best.